Imagine standing on a beach, looking out to the horizon, where the sky and the oceans meet in a perfect line, infinitely thin and straighter than the most perfect ruler. But what exactly is a line, and how can knowing about them improve our drawing skills? So let's take a closer look at its magic and steal a little for ourselves. Our journey starts around 300 before the year 0, where legendary Greek mathematician Euclid presumably published his book Elements. In it he wrote about the line,
"A line is breadthless length, meaning a line has only one dimension, length, and no width or thickness. It is an abstract representation, not a physical object. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself, and all points on it align without curves or deviations."
This was the birth of the line as a mathematical concept. A line as a series of straight points, infinitely dense and infinitely thin. Although this definition makes perfect sense, it is not as applicable to the visual arts as another definition written hundreds of years later, in 1651 by the great artist and inventor Leonardo da Vinci. In his book Treatise on Painting, he writes,
"The line is not part of the body of any substance, but rather a boundary or limit of the body, and is nothing in itself."
So the line seems to be a boundary of some sort. But if that's the case, where do lines appear? And are there rules to it? To figure this out, we first have to address the problem that every drawing is trying to solve. How do you turn a 3D object into lines? Let's take this apple for instance. The visually clearest and easiest line to draw is the silhouette, separating our apple from the background. But why is that? You see, the surface of the apple is curving away from us so much at the point of its silhouette that it creates a visual separation, a kind of horizon if you will. Using 3D software like Blender, we can move out of our perspective and visualize these lines on the apple. So this tells us one thing: lines appear where a surface curves away from the viewer. Cool. So now let's look for other areas on our apple that fit that criteria, like the little dimple on the top where the stem sits, or even the stem itself. All these parts curve away from us, therefore drawing a line there completes the drawing of our apple. This creates a rule of where to place lines most effectively in your drawing. But are there more? Let's test our theory and see if we can apply this knowledge to a more advanced drawing and figure out which types of lines we can find in it. Let's take this beautiful drawing from artist Xiang Huan as our study. Let's do the easy one first, the silhouette again. Then let us find all the interior lines that curve away from us. Notice how not all of the lines can be explained by this rule. How is that? Well, if we look at the remaining lines, we can see that they carry a different type of information. They are called hatch lines and are the true magic of drawing. Because other than the silhouette and the interior lines, they can describe many things: texture, shadows, or just a simple separation in color. And the thing is, hatch lines don't follow any strict mathematical rules. They're simply a subjective interpretation of the artist. If you think of all the line types, like a pyramid, the silhouette at the bottom, the interior lines in the middle, and the hatch lines at the very top, like the icing on the cake, you would be greatly mistaken. Because really, it would rather look like this. The two calculatable line types as a foundation, and the hatch lines as the never-ending play of skill and perception. All high-level line art happens in this last part of the pyramid. All the beautiful magic of a drawing is subjective. And to prove to you that there can't be rules to this, I want to leave you with this riddle. Imagine a cube with rounded edges. Now try drawing it. You might apply the curvature method to draw the silhouette like so. But what now? No interior surface curves away enough to create interior lines, making this drawing rather unsuccessful because you can't portray the form of the cube with just the calculatable line types, unless you use hatch lines. Then your drawing might look like this, or like this, or maybe it will look completely different, like this, trading precision for a more successful drawing of this cube. I call this riddle the undrawable cube, because there's not really one correct way to draw it. But I hope this doesn't stop you from trying. And thanks for watching.